That must have been the day after yesterday. Alright, you want to order? Thank you.
So that's why you have to keep on going back upstairs, I guess. She was going to get one side.
Got it? Yeah, I know. But yeah, so this is the live streaming. It's about. They can listen to my boots.
So there's a bit of a lag. So
There's 20-second lag, I think.
1, 2,
So where will you be
wait till I
standing?
come 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10-second lag.
Okay, where will you be standing? Or you will be
Yeah. So do we need to adjust the?
just so we can test.
It's a shame that there's no lighting, better lighting. And the audio is fine. You may need to. It's a shame that there's no lighting.
If it was, I thought maybe it was attached to that
Will you try? You got your heels on. Where's Ernest? Do you want to choose?
So yeah, that's just
What's wrong with it? I need to.
Where's our ladder?
Oh, anyway.
Have a seat.
So.
No, she doesn't come in. He can't walk it from the inside.
Works. So you don't need that anymore.
It's a shame we're facing here. There's a crowd down here. I'm just trying to find
Do we not have any signed up for the seminar? Or did they not sign up?
No, that need to sign.
Rose said something
Oh, okay. All the coaches should be subscribed.
so maybe
They need to subscribe. It's 5 o'clock. Is it alright?
You got them.
The audio's good. Just grab a chair. No, but when these people quiet down,
And if you want water, pick up. There's water.
where's the mic? Is the
I've got
mic just in
mine. I'm going to have some.
pick it up.
You looked hilarious. We were laughing out the front there, kept stealing, and you were going. And Belinda's gone. It was hilarious.
Always
That is
points
so
in the most
funny.
unflattering.
And the look on your face is just a classic. I should have, that's why I was
Now
quick enough on I had my phone and gone, snap!
So respect that.
Self-conscious. All right.
Nice shot of your bum though, I like that.
Do you want to ring the bell, Don?
Time!
Good evening. Okay, so this is our first real seminar or webinar involving live and live streaming. So the questions, Melanie, they can submit questions through YouTube. Yeah, so you'll probably just be able to tell us. Yeah, definitely. So for the people there back at home, I'm hoping you can see us. I know you can see us, but at least hear us. And I'd like to welcome all of you here tonight. And I'm hoping you stay too for the 6:30. We'll have some eats. We've got some cheese, of course. And then you have to take the chairs back out to there. But depending on how many people turn, we may even just be able to stay in here. So for those people who don't know who we are, my name is Lisa Wise. I'm one of the directors of the Bone Clinic. And this is Belinda Beck, the other director of the Bone Clinic. Hi. So what we'll do is we'll just, for the Gmail account users on streaming, you'll be able to post questions to us and Melanie will relay them for us and then hopefully we can answer them for you. All right, so the first thing is Cooperoo and the enormous growth we're having as a company. And some people say it's a great problem to have, and it is, except when it comes to classes. So some statistics for you. We've run close to 4,000 classes since opening. So we opened in July 2015. So it's almost 2 years. So we've run close to 4,000 classes. 24 of those classes have had over 18 women, which is less than 1%. However, when you break it down to this year, about 5% have been overcrowded. And if I really break it down to the 9:15 and the 10 o'clock classes, 30% of those classes this year have been overcrowded. So it's time to do something about this. We do not want to introduce a booking system. I think it would create confusion amongst all of you, and we want to have a place where you could just turn up at any time, and it's fluid. You don't need to book in like a yoga class. So we definitely want to avoid that. We also want to avoid moving. Like we've just commandeered this space here, but we've almost outgrown it as well. So, and moving as a company is extremely expensive. And even though you don't know the lease arrangements here, we have 30 car parks out there. Do you know how many businesses in Brisbane City have 30 car parks? And you don't have to put a $2 coin in a all right? So it's really important that we solve this and we stay here. So what Belinda and I would like to do, we're going to, another major problem for us as directors is the casual staff. So we have enough casual staff now to convert to full-time staff. I hope none of the coaches just realised that. So we're going to, top secret. There's going to be another full-time EP, Caesar. Do you know Caesar? So I got so much feedback with respect to Caesar, and so I had to ring him and say, Caesar, they love you. I'm going to offer you a full-time position. So he's going to start June. And then another full-time EP will start in July, which means we can be a lot more liberal with putting on more classes through the day. Another thing we've done as a company, we used to consult Monday to Friday, and it's full on. As you know, when you're here, we've also got clients walking to and from, so we've cut out Friday consulting for the coaches to meet on a Friday afternoon and talk about nothing but you. Because we're finding now that with everyone sort of coming in, we used to be really on top of, say, 200 of you. There was no problems. I mean, I used to know all your names. There was absolutely no, it was a very personable place to come. And Annette would know. She's been here since the beginning, so she's seen the changes. So the coaches, so we knocked out Friday, and we've just made it a coach's day, so we can all get together and do in-service and just talk about you and the things how we can improve the classes, the environment, the culture, our coaching, and safety, etc., etc. Anyway, so what we want to do is open up some afternoon sessions. We only have, I mean, there's only one 9:15 and one 10 o'clock Monday to Friday. Monday to Friday. And I understand why they're busy, because it's just straight after peak hour. You're out of the mother's traffic and the peak hour traffic, and it's in the morning. But we're gonna trial the 2 o'clock and the 3 o'clock classes. Okay, here in Cooperoo only, and we'll just see how that goes. If the class is busy, I hear a lot of you panicking about sharing a bar. The 3 to a bar is perfect because it forces you to have rest. We are wanting you to lift a certain amount of weight, and you can't do that with just 1 on a bar or 2 on a bar. In Olympic weightlifting, we always share the bar, or we always sit down and wait 3 minutes. We look at the clock and we sit down and we just wait, or we stretch, or whatever, you know. We want the same here. We don't want you performing 30-second. I've seen a lady squat 5 sets of 5. I've timed her and she's had 9 seconds rest in between, but you all do it. Okay, so if it is busy, that's great. Put yourself in a triple, like 3, and talk to each other if you want to. All right, so that's the couple of solutions we've got, because we really don't want to move and we don't want to introduce a booking system. I think it will be carnage for everybody, especially someone like Donna who's on the phone. Because people will book and then not book. Yes, Annette?
Would you consider doing early classes Tuesdays and Thursdays?
I can do that as well. The thing is though, the early classes Monday, Wednesday, Friday are actually okay. I was here Wednesday morning. I'm normally here. I try and check it in. I stay late some nights, early some. You see me here at 10 to 6. Exactly. So, and I just want to get a feel for the classes, and I thought they were okay. But then out of the blue, there is 16 of you. But I think those classes are fine. And the public holidays have a huge impact on the next day. How does that seem? How are the classes at Hendra? I see some Hendra ladies back there. 9:15, see?
Public holiday thing, obviously. But 9:15.
Yeah.
Lisa, with the, what you suggested there, a 3 to a bar and
Rest.
probably would be a 3-minute rest if you wait.
Maybe 2, yeah.
Yeah, on some days, when I was 3 on a bar, the time for the next class was impinging on the finishing of the squats, and it just seemed really like you were getting
Rushed.
pushed to get
Yes.
out for the others to get in. So I
Yeah.
think there needs to be a better time
Management.
gap between one class and the next. 10 to
Oh, I see, like getting a par. If it goes over. But we have 15 minutes.
Yes, it still seemed like you were getting, you couldn't do the stretches because people were moving.
Okay. Well, Belinda's going to talk about stretching in a minute and how sometimes why we don't do stretching, especially if there's a big, busy class. I appreciate the feedback. I can give that back to the coaches to take the full 45 minutes because really at the end of the day, you only have to do 100 reps. Based on the research that we've done, 100 reps. So we've got 45 minutes to do that. Okay. Yeah, do you want to add anything?
No, I think what I can add is basically the stretching. Yeah, are you done?
I'm done. Is that all right? How does that sound? Do you think you'll come to some 2 and 3s? We're still not at the 9:15s and the 10s. The afternoons are good? All right.
Just ask you, what did you mean when you said you only have to do 100 reps?
Well, without giving our program away, because we have thousands of people probably watching us, we have the main exercises and then we have the circuit. So if you actually count what we do, there's only 100.
Oh, in each session that we're doing, like in different sort of formats.
Yeah.
Oh,
Add
see.
everything together,
Yeah,
all the
sorry.
lifts you
I
do.
Just do as
It's
we're
really-
told. 100.
We add the circuit in for some variety,
Yeah.
and we're going to look at that as well in
Yeah,
the
sorry, I
near
understand
term.
now.
Okay,
Yeah, I
good.
didn't tweak before.
That's all right. All right. So the next thing on the agenda, if I can move on, is the stretching. I've heard a lot of you, some coaches, and this is particularly my fault, is that some coaches have their own sort of mentality on stretching. Sometimes they stretch before, and then sometimes they're after, and then there's no consistency there. So we really want to nip it in the bud tonight with the scientist in the room about stretching, especially here at the Bone Clinic.
So some of you may have read the insert in one of the recent newsletters where I wrote a little blurb about stretching. So stretching is something that we have all been led to believe, if we've ever done any kind of physical activity, is absolutely vital and essential part to warm up and cool down from exercise. And that's one of those myths that has sort of worked its way into general society so that everybody knows that stretching is important, good for you, improves performance and reduces injury. Well, when people actually start looking at the literature and testing that, which is so often not done when it comes to these really embedded myths, lo and behold, it turns out that that's not actually true. So even in phys ed, you think back to physical education classes where it is, I'm sure it's in some Education Queensland guideline policy booklet that you must do a warm-up before PE. There is absolutely no evidence to show that that reduces the risk of injury or improves performance. So in fact, and I have previously done a little bit of digging around in the literature on this, but I asked Mel yesterday to go back in and have another look to make sure I hadn't missed anything. And she's pulled up a whole bunch of papers, new papers, and these are reviews of the literature. They've put all the evidence together, and we can see there's really no evidence to suggest that stretching improves performance or reduces injury in any of this literature at all. And in fact, there's some suggestion that static stretching, which are the ones where, for example, if you're doing this stretch, just holding it, that kind of stretch, is actually detrimental to performance. So, and the longer you hold that stretch, particularly over 60 seconds, the more detrimental it is. And now these aren't big effects, and I wouldn't say that it's going to actually hurt you to do it, but it doesn't improve your performance, and there is no evidence that it reduces the risk of injury. So because we're a bone clinic and the reason for being is building bone and preventing fracture, we want to concentrate as much of our energies on building bone as we can, which means why waste time with something that is not improving your ability to do something and it's not keeping you safer. So yes, you can monitor yourself when you come in and start your first few reps a little more gently just to get the blood flowing, and you can certainly feel free to do some little stretches of your own on your way here, and as you come up the stairs, do some calf stretches or something like that. But I really think our time is best spent focusing on our bone loading exercises. And the other thing that we do is, as well as building bone, is prevent falls, and the way to do that is work on balance. So some of the exercises we do at the end of class are really targeting prevention of falls. So we want to try and maintain those, but in certain circumstances, those will, we may run out of time when the classes are too big. But certainly it's something that we want to maintain as much as we can. I think what Lisa was saying before in answer to one of those questions, if you're rushed at the end, I don't think we feel any concern at all about dropping the stretches at the end, because we don't feel like it's going to be any problem for you. Now, there is a tiny bit of evidence that stretching after exercise might reduce next day soreness, and so if you're really susceptible to that, then maybe a few stretches on your own as you go down to the car might be beneficial for you. But across the board, the difference in next day soreness is really, really tiny in those studies. Does what apply to the question was, does that apply to the Galileo machine?
Well, some people are doing that pre-starting, some people are doing it.
Yeah, it doesn't make any difference when you do it. So this is the option to do some vibration loading when you come in for your session. Doesn't make any difference when you do it at all. Any other questions? All right.
All right. The bands. So you've started wearing your bands, right? Yes. What colour your band, Dolly?
White.
You got a white band. Okay. So come 1st of June at Cooperoo only, we're just trialling the implementation of these bands, and I want to explain why. With the influx of women coming in, we still do every week send a communique out to all the coaches, and in that communique is the new women who have been assessed and their contraindications, or just telling everyone just be careful because of A, B, C. However, some of you come in on the Monday and want to start on the Wednesday, and we don't do the coaches communique till the Friday. So a lot of our coaches don't get to, you turn up, which is great, but they haven't read it, they don't know about you yet. So in cooperation with the band, we've implemented this area in here, and some of you have been in here. I can see Lindy, and I forgot your name, Carl. Bev. Lindy and Bev. And when you come in here, and so the first experience at the bone clinic is in this room here for about 4 to 6 sessions, and it's just broomstick work, right? And we teach you a few things that are up on the wall back there, and we assign you a band, or I assign you a band, or an experienced EP will assign you a band, and then that way that gives you free rein then to come to any class on the timetable. Another reason why we've implemented the band and the influx of the new space and new women and new coaches is a duty of care to you. It's just another layer. So when you walk in, the coach, even if, we need new coaches, obviously. If you're wearing a white band, they automatically know that all the movements are okay. Obviously the green band, I think, is a press, is that right? Yes, it's the press, it's things like that. So it just gives us an indication. It's a visual, that's all, for the coach, and it's safety for you. It's just another layer of duty of care. Bundaberg will be implemented next because we're starting to do assessments up in Bundaberg, and then once it's incorporated here and bedded in, and it's all working out, we'll go Gold Coast, Maroochydore, Toowoomba, Hendra. So we'll just roll it all out. So each of you will need to wear a band, and we can communicate that through the newsletter or the mobile phone app, which we'll talk about in a short time. Another reason why we want you to wear bands is because it gives us the opportunity to put a barcode on that band.
We'll be chipping you next.
So we're chipping you. Yeah. Yeah, let me just finish my train of thought. So with the band, we can then put a barcode on it. It's just a label. One of the things I've realised, coming from a commercial background and coming into research, is that research is very, very expensive. So every time you walk in here, we record everything that you do. We record that you've had a fall or a fracture, if you've been on the Galileo, how much weight you've lifted, the date and the time, because we can break it all down.
And this is not because we're being creepy or invasive. It's because we need that to see whether our program is working.
And that takes a person 30 hours a week. So it's costly per year. So with the barcode, so if you're all wearing a band, you get used to coming every day with the band on. We're going to implement the next stage, which is a barcode on the band. And all you need to do is just swipe the barcode, all right? And what will happen is that your name, this is my vision, your name comes up on a great big screen, and then you're responsible, because you just
Type in your way.
type in your weights, I've had a fall, I've had a fracture, whatever, I've been on the Galileo, submit and buy.
So the band pushes yours to keep.
Correct.
So provided you don't forget to bring it when you
That's
come
right.
to class.
Yeah.
But that's why we want you to get into the culture of that, all right? One thing at a time. There's a method to our madness.
Leave it in your
One in
car.
each colour,
Hey?
just in case.
What's that?
Do we have one barcoded in each colour, just in case?
No. No. So that's the bigger picture of the bands, all right? It's more than just the duty of care. We're hoping that it can. I won't say that. Sorry? Is this
Swipe yourself.
I was going to say save us some money, but I won't. All right. Well, that person is then freed up to to do other, like make me coffee.
What she means is more supervision in classes.
Exactly. All right. So the next one is the streaming. Sorry. Yes.
Can I ask a question about that? I can understand that there's a lot of us attending a great many number of classes with a number of coaches. And you say that all coaches know the profiles of all the attendees, whether they only know the profiles of the people who come regularly to their sessions.
So let me paraphrase. You're saying, do the coaches know all the profiles of every person here? They should. And what was the other one?
And therefore, if I guess my question is it more desirable then that you attend your regular sessions, that you would be better known by
Yes.
the coach than if you
Chop and
choose
change.
amongst the whole
Yeah.
range?
Exactly. Look,
The question was, is it better if you attend your usual session so that the coach gets to know you well?
as experienced if you're coaching every Monday morning, Wednesday morning, and I see the same person, I know your movements, so I wouldn't need a band because I'd know you. Sometimes that coach goes on holidays, or sometimes that coach finishes university and goes off and does forklift driving like Caesar. All right. So it's better that you do come to a regular time and day. It doesn't have to be all the time, but yeah, the coaches will get to know you. Obviously, of course. Do the coaches know all of your profiles? Yes and no. They do read the coaches communique. There's so many women coming in, but that's why we get you coming in here, and that's why we're cutting out Fridays, consultant days, so we can talk about you. We're not talking about we're not talking about Linda. We're talking about you. We need to communicate more as a team, and that's something that we aren't doing well at the moment, and it can be improved.
And the most important thing to talk about are people who are more at risk of injury if they have a particular condition, hence the bands, because the band will then signify that in a squat, this person's got dreadful knees, so they can't go so deep, or something like that. So it's just the colour of the band says, I've got to watch that person in squats. So it's a trigger, because you're right, it's impossible for a coach to remember 400 different profiles.
Okay, we're all good with the bands. Okay, so the next one was the streaming, and well, the streaming. Are anyone going questions?
Not yet.
Oh, that's
Few
good.
comments.
A few comments.
They can hear us.
Oh, they can hear us. Oh, good. Well, two. For the people who are watching, we would love your feedback if they can ring Donna. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. That's not true. Email myself or Belinda. Or just email anyone at the Bone Clinic, but just give us some feedback if you think this is good quality, if you find it valuable, if you would like us to continue these types of formats. For you in the audience, you know, I said to Belinda a couple of months ago, I think we need to talk to our clients. This one is just, well, you know, I don't see Belinda now from 1 month to the next, so, and you have all seen me in the office, and I'll come out, get a coffee or whatever, and have a quick chat to you. But I think both of us love the fact or a format where we can communicate to you, and that we're open to you. I mean, we are accessible. This one is too.
I would love to be more accessible, and I'm accessible when I'm here. I'm just buried.
So, how do you feel about sort of doing this every 6 months, or do you think that 6 months is okay?
Yeah, and providing
Well,
questions to us so that we can be very specific in the answers that we're giving you.
Because Belinda's here Belinda's here nearly every month anyway, but every 3 months we hold a conference. We don't need to hold a seminar, but we don't need to do this every 3 months, but maybe just every second one when there are major changes, transitions happening. I think it's valuable for me as a director, and to hear the feedback. And for you too, to understand, you know, as a company where we're going, that we actually do care.
Can I just say a word about communication? I've been coming 6 months, and I actually only found out this week that you do a newsletter. And funnily enough, I've heard about 4 other people say the same. So Donna did instruct me how to do that this week.
She did?
She did, so I was very grateful to know.
I think on sign up now, Donna is telling them where to sign up for the newsletter, which is on the footer. Oh, she did tell you? Yes.
Absolutely, and I signed up straight away.
Okay, good. So we have changed that.
Thank you.
It's Mari, isn't it?
I'm Celia. Yes.
Celia, sorry.
Yes, but I have been here 6 months, so
Okay.
I must have
I try very hard to remember all your names. Yeah.
That's terrible. You obviously slipped through that window. Yeah, and the problem is a lot of the way we communicate with you is through the newsletter. So we can't give you that information. It's very circular.
Do you read the boards here as well? So you do read the boards? Okay. So, but you never got you didn't know there was a newsletter?
I didn't know.
Lisa, there's quite a few of us that didn't know.
No, there's quite a few people there.
And even as late as this afternoon. What are you talking about? What's tonight?
Really?
So there's quite a few of us that really.
All right. Well, at least we've changed that.
That's been on the board for.
Yeah, that's been on the board, but not. It's the newsletter that's the problem.
But tonight's session's been on the board for a week or while.
Maybe when we hand out the timetable to you, there's just another sheet saying this is our newsletter and mobile app. Yeah. Well, apologies.
How many people here actually first saw it on the board, or how many people here actually found out about it via the newsletter, and then it'll give you a fairly good indication of whether or not we're reading the newsletter or we're seeing it on the board. I saw it on both.
You saw it on the board?
Yeah.
Oh, both?
Well, hands up newsletter, and hands up board, and hands up both. Okay. All right. So it's half and half. Oh, you did. You're very advanced.
What's she saying?
That's what I'm finding out.
You already signed up, have you?
Great. That's good.
All right. Well, apologies.
That's all right.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
Thanks for raising it.
Okay. Toowoomba, if there's any Toowoomba people listening, we're going. We have been putting Toowoomba off and off and off. Bundaberg took a lot of my energy. It has been. I mean, it's great up there. We've got 10 new women starting next week. So it was sort of went a bit prolonged, say 3 months more than what I was anticipating. I don't even know what I was thinking. I was thinking I would just fly up there once, dump a facility in there and bye. So it's all settled in, and we've learned some valuable lessons from Bundaberg. So Toowoomba will be open. I'll be coming up there end of May just to do some scouting, but Belinda and I will be there at the end of June / beginning of July in the middle of the Toowoomba winter and opening up a facility up there. Okay, so that's Toowoomba. All right, last thing on the agenda. We might be finishing early. Now, actually, this could take us some time. Maybe not, because you all haven't got your mobile phones, or you have got your mobile phones. Okay, talking about communication. Funnily enough, I said to Belinda about 6 months ago, we're really poor at communicating. Did I not? Maybe. At the end of the year, I did what we do really well here and what we do really bad. One of them was communicating. And I said, I think, and also Belinda had some great ideas about, well, if we are opening up Bundaberg and Toowoomba and the coach doesn't turn up, how do we alert everybody? And I'm thinking, oh my God, yeah, it's a great idea. So combined with the communication issue and the alerting people in our regional centres, we needed a tool that could facilitate the news or the communication. So obviously the mobile phone app was the solution. I think there are 3 types of mobile phones. So anyway, we've got the phone app. I'm not articulating myself very well, but my head's racing. There's an iPhone app, obviously App Store if you're an iPhone user, and Google Play if you have an Android. That's it. If you have a Windows phone I don't know. I've always just had iPhones. All you need to do is just search for the Bone Clinic, download it. It'll cost you $20. Just don't. It's free. It's free. You just download it. Obviously, it's extremely. You just register. I've got the instructions on the website homepage on the right hand side. Where is it? So it's on again? Yeah. I'll just turn off after a while. So that timetable will be updated if you just change it in the settings. It will alert, if you have in your notifications, if you turn the alerts on, when we send out news, it will alert a text message. But you can turn that notification off. It's really, really simple. It's our terms and conditions are on there, how to claim from private health or how not to claim from private health. Just all the information that you need. A 12-month review. So there's information, there's research coming in, there's newsletters. Oh look, it's communicating to you.
Is it the same as what's on the website, but mobile, because you can take this?
Pretty much.
A bit less though.
A bit less, yeah.
A bit more compact.
I just would go home and download it and then just have a look. It's really basic. Yeah, we didn't want to make something that nobody would be able to use. You don't need to look at it every day. With the research, if we do hold research here, like with the osteoarthritis, it gives you the ability to email that to someone that you may know with osteoarthritis. It's just sharing information.
But really,
Lisa?
the primary purpose is
They can't hear.
Yeah, it's up.
Is it? Some of them can, the others can't.
Oh, maybe that because it cut out.
primary purpose of it is so that you can quickly, I use it all the time to look at the timetable to see if there's something happening at the Gold Coast and what time that is and who should be there and so on. And for alerts. If something was to happen, where there's only one or two coaches at a remote location and they just got stuck floodwaters or whatever, we could just send out an alert and say, guys, sorry, cancel today, so-and-so can't get through. So rather than you all battling the flood and getting there and being frustrated that there's no class. Because I really think the website is probably a better source for really getting a full understanding of the clinic and what's going on and that sort of thing, because it's just easier and more flexible. But certainly it's sometimes when you're doing something and your family wants to know about it, it's a great way to just pull up and have, this is kind of what I'm talking about. And as Lisa said, definitely advertising research studies. We've only got the most trial going on at the moment, but there will be more. Aside from the larger human experiment that you're all a part of.
When does that come to an end? Like when do you submit your information as a result of it?
So the question is when does our research come to an end? And the answer is, how long is a piece of string? So we've been looking at the data ever since we started collecting it, and I'll show you some tonight if you're here for the seminar. As people finish their 12 months and have their 12-month review, we can add to it and we can continue to sort of compile it. Ultimately, for us to really be able to say something about what is working or not working here at the clinic, we need hundreds. And so we're talking about this is an ongoing research experiment that clinicians can believe, because we've got enough data, that it's very, very powerful. One of the biggest weaknesses in the scientific literature with these difficult sorts of studies that are, governments are very loath to fund, is that there are not enough people in them. And there's a very select population, so we can't apply what we find to everybody. That's the great thing. Everybody's a real person here. We haven't screened you out and said you can't participate. So it's highly applicable. But it's why we do collect so much data, because we're interested to know whether how many times you come a week makes a difference. Can you just come once a week? And does it have the same effect? Do you need to come more than twice a week? Because there are some people who do. If you stand on the Galileo, does it make a difference? Does it improve your hip BMD?
It's enjoyable, that's one thing. Something to look forward to at the end.
Is that the only reason you come here?
Get a good
I give you
shake
a good shake.
I'm sure you
So basically, as we've probably, I think the last count we had about 30 people who had finished their full 12 months. We must have more than that now.
We have about 55, 60.
So, when I go and publish, the Liftmore study that the Bone Clinic is based on was 100 women who were randomly assigned to 2 different groups. Now that was a big trial for an exercise trial, but not nearly big enough to convince clinicians